Welcome back to my channel. My name is Miss Summer. I'm a 40 medical student in Nigeria. Here in this channel, I make vlogs and also helpful sit-down videos for medical students. So do well to subscribe. In this video, I'll be talking about how I prepared for my Part 1 MBBS exams, both before and during the exam. It's almost 1 year since I wrote my Part 1 exam. Firstly, I'll give a general overview of what the Part 1 MBBS exams is about. Part 1 MBBS exam is an exam that you have to write. It's a board exam that you have to write in your year 3 that will transit you into year 4 if you satisfy the board. It comprises of 3 parts. The written part is the MCQs and the essay, and then the vibe, and then the practical, and then lastly the viva exams, and altogether they have 70% of your marks. Because the remaining 30% comes from your CA. The tests and exams you'll be writing all along will comprise 30% of your MBBS exams. And the Part 1 MBBS exam comprises of 3 courses: anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. Going into the video proper, like how I prepared for my Part 1 MBBS exams. First things first, I started reading 2 months prior to my exams. 2 months prior to my exams, it was just tests and few classes, so I had ample time to sit down and start reading for the exams. Secondly, I think 3 months to my exams or 2 months to my exams, I deleted social media apps in my phone. I started practicing questions, I started practicing MCQs, I started practicing them so that I won't be seeing them for the first time in the exam hall. And this active recall, most times I do it alone, and sometimes I do it with a friend on WhatsApp. For the active recall, I had 2 notes, one for anatomy, one for physiology and biochemistry. So what I did is that I wrote down theory questions, wrote down the synopsis for these questions, and once in a while, maybe once in 2 days, I will bring out the book and look at it and try to recall the topics without looking into my textbook. That was how I did my active recall. Number 5 is that I try to cover as much as possible. No one cares if you haven't taught or not, so I tried to cover the scheme as much as I could. At least I tried to cover 60% of the scheme, so I covered more than I didn't cover. But 6 is that I gave all my courses equal attention, because prior to my exams, before they even got close, I was paying more attention to my anatomy because I felt like I was not really poor. I was not really strong in anatomy, and anatomy was my worst course in year 3 and year 2. So I was giving it more attention so that I won't be lacking behind. But when I started preparing for my Part 1 MBBS exam, I figured out that I hadn't given much attention to biochemistry. I decided to give all my courses equal attention. Because lastly, in the exams, if you pass one of the courses, that doesn't mean you have passed. You need to pass 3 of the courses in order to know that you have satisfied the board of examiners. The seventh thing is that I tried to get enough sleep. It was not really easy because I had so much to do and I couldn't just be sleeping, but I still tried. That was one of the reasons I deleted social media, so that time I used to consume social media, I would use that time to get some sleep and help my brain. Eight is that I started using simplified textbooks. I stopped using Guyton and Hall for my physiology. I stopped using Kitmo. I just focused on textbooks that were very, very simple, textbooks that were exam focused and all of that. For my biochemistry, I started using, I think, NinjaNet PDFs. There was no time. 2 months was just like 2 weeks. The thing I did was that I started learning from the experiences of my senior colleague. Prayer was one of my preparations for my Part 1 MBBS exams, because without God we can not do anything. It's not of him that runneth, but it's of God that showeth me. I put God in every step during my Part 1 MBBS preparations. The last part of this video, I'm going to talk about how I wrote these MBBS exams. So the first paper I had was anatomy. I wasn't that tense, but I was tense considering it's my first MBBS exams. And then number 2, it's a course I didn't like. And number 3, there was a lot of things. It was just too bulky. The histology, and but there was just a lot of things to read. So during the exams, I tried not to panic. I tried as much as possible not to be tense in the examination hall, reminding myself that when I start to fear of failing an exam, that means I'm already failing. I tried as much as possible not to let fear of the exams get to me. After the written part of my exams, which went well by the grace of God, the second part was my practicals, and I've always hated practicals right from time. Even up till now, I still hate practicals. But these practicals were having the same, I think it had the same mark as the written exam. I had to read. I had to read and try my possible best to get more marks from my practicals. So also during the practicals, I also tried not to be tense. I tried to just do my best and leave the rest for God. That was basically what I did in my practicals. And then the last part of the exams was my viva. My physiology viva was the worst exam I wrote during my part one MBBS exam, because in physiology, I don't know why, but I was just so tense that day. I was scared. I was just, even though it was my last paper, I was just so scared, mainly because I was very poor in neuroanatomy. My foundation in neuroanatomy was very, very poor. Even during the exams, it was still very poor. So I felt like there was a loophole that they could use to catch me. It was from this neuroanatomy, that neurophysiology. I was really poor on neurophysiology. So it was from this neurophysiology that my first question came, my second question came, my third question came. I was already scared because I didn't get the three of them. So just the last one that I was able to get. But I still give God all the glory. So during my exams, every morning, no matter how little of an appetite I had, I still try to eat my breakfast before I leave, so that I'll know that when I'm in the exam hall, my problem is not food. My problem is that I don't know the answer to the question. Not that my problem is I'm tired, I just want to go and eat. So I tried as much as possible to eat every morning before I left for my exams. And during these exams too, I tried to sleep well at night, even though it was not easy, because when you remember a lot of things you haven't read, you just decide to start reading throughout the night. But I still try to get like 2 hours, 3 hours sleep, so that the next day I can actually write well. During my exams, I wasn't trying to take in any new information at all. I was just revising what I've read before, and the ones I haven't read, I just left it for God. That statement that you say, anything that wants to happen, let it happen. So this is basically how I prepared for my MBBS exams before and during the exams. So we finally come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.